Let her go! No! Will you tell your soldier to let go of my daughter, please?
It's okay.
They're hurting me!
Is this your farm?
Joanna, be calm.
They're hurting me!
Be calm.
We'll only take what we need.
And I'll take your horse.
I can't let you do that. Huh?
No!
I might take the girl. Huh? Yeah.
Get off! Hey! Adrian! I'm sorry. He's young.
Go! You want to play with me? Huh? Stand down, Lieutenant!
The story begins on a bright and sunny day at the start of World War I. A German soldier named Lawrence is seen patrolling a city with his unit of men. They are fully armed and prepared for potential combat as they move through the streets. Suddenly, the quiet is broken when hidden attackers open fire on the patrol from nearby houses. Lawrence reacts quickly to the ambush and returns fire. During the skirmish, he manages to kill 2 of the attackers, though one is able to escape the scene. Elsewhere, a farmer named Leonard Lambert sits in deep thought. He is a widower who is still grieving and his mind is filled with memories of his late wife. As the daylight begins to fade, Leonard gets out of bed to start his day. He prepares himself for the work ahead and heads out to tend to his responsibilities. At the same time, his son Adrian is spending time with a local woman named Louise. The 2 of them are sitting under a tree together, enjoying each other's company. Their interaction is noticed by Joanna, Leonard's daughter. Seeing Adrian and Louise together makes Joanna feel jealous, causing her to walk away from them. Before leaving, she briefly mentions that she has other duties to attend to. Later on, Joanna is busy with her chores when Leonard arrives and asks her where her brother is. Based on Joanna's reply, Leonard realizes that Adrian is likely spending time with Louise again. Leonard immediately heads toward Adrian and finds him with Louise. He tells Louise that she needs to go home right away. Later that same day, Louise speaks with her father, Harold, and confesses that she is in love with Adrian. Harold does not approve of the relationship and strictly warns her never to see Adrian again. Despite this warning, Louise tells her mother, Bridget, that her feelings for Adrian are very deep. On the other side of the village, Leonard is giving Adrian similar advice. He tells his son to stay away from Louise, but Adrian refuses to listen. Adrian explains to his father that he cannot stay away because his feelings for her are too strong. Frustrated by the conversation, Adrian stands up and walks out of the house. That night, one of the German soldiers meets with a commander named Rausch. The soldier explains the details of the patrol that had occurred earlier in the day. It is revealed that the soldiers were ordered to bring in prisoners for questioning. However, Lawrence took it upon himself to ignore those orders. Instead of taking prisoners, he executed them along with several children who were present. A moment later, Rausch speaks with Lawrence and tells him that he must go out with a scout party that night. Lawrence openly refuses to follow the order. This act of defiance makes Rausch very angry and frustrated. He reminds Lawrence that he is a trained soldier and should not be rejecting direct orders. It is noted that Lawrence's repeated disobedience has already caused several problems for the unit. The following day, many of the villagers, including Leonard and Adrian, attend a church service. During the service, Adrian continues to glance over at Louise. Their fathers both notice the interaction between the 2 young people. Leonard pulls Adrian aside and warns him that this behavior needs to stop before the situation escalates further. After the church service ends, Leonard stays behind for a moment. He watches as Harold, Louise's father, drives away in a new vehicle. The village priest approaches Leonard and asks him to stay and talk because he has something important to share. Leonard declines the invitation, stating that he has many things he needs to attend to at his farm. Later, Leonard visits a local bakery where he receives troubling news. He is informed that some of the villagers are already moving out of the area and heading toward France. They are fleeing because German soldiers have started invading nearby communities. That night, Leonard talks with a man named Fergal about whether he should prepare to fight. After thinking about his children and his farmland, Leonard decides against joining any conflict. Later that night, Adrian steps out of the house to smoke a cigarette. His sister Joanna joins him and asks for one, but Adrian refuses, telling her that girls should not smoke. Joanna takes the opportunity to remind him that their father, Leonard, has valid reasons for telling him not to meet with Louise. Despite their disagreements, the siblings comfort each other with a hug before going back inside. The next morning, Commander Rausch arrives at a military field to inspect his men. He discovers that his soldiers are currently outnumbered on the battlefield. Rausch also notices that his son, Lawrence, did not go out with the other soldiers as instructed. Lawrence eventually walks into the area appearing to be intoxicated and speaking in a careless manner. Rausch orders Lawrence to gather his men and get to work. Lawrence retorts that the senior sergeant is more than capable of handling the tasks without him. This disrespectful response angers Roush, who hits Lawrence before walking away from the confrontation. Meanwhile, Leonard returns to the church to meet with the priest to find out what was so important the previous day. The priest leads Leonard to a hidden room within the church. He explains that if the German soldiers reach their village, this location can serve as a safe hiding spot for the civilians. The priest continues the tour by showing Leonard a cache of weapons stored there. He tells Leonard that the villagers respect him and look up to him as a natural leader. Leonard, however, insists that he cannot take part in such violent matters. Later that day, Louise and Adrian meet secretly in a barn. They spend time making light of their situation and joking about their future together. Joanna overhears their conversation and decides she wants to tell their father about the secret meeting. Adrian tries to stop his sister from leaving, but she ignores him and goes to find Leonard anyway. Leonard arrives at the barn and commands Louise to leave the premises immediately. Adrian stands his ground and refuses to let her go, sparking a heated argument between father and son. Their dispute is suddenly interrupted by the sound of Joanna screaming outside. They rush out of the barn only to find that German soldiers have arrived and are holding Joanna tightly. Roush attempts to de-escalate the situation by assuring Leonard that his family will be safe. He claims the soldiers only need food and basic supplies. However, Lawrence takes a more aggressive approach and demands that Leonard hand over a horse and slaughter a pig for them. When Leonard refuses to comply with the demand, Lawrence raises his gun at him in a fit of anger. Roush tries to intervene and stop his son from shooting, but Lawrence refuses to listen to his father. After a tense moment, Lawrence lowers his weapon but declares that he will take Leonard's daughter instead of the animal. He grabs Joanna and begins to pull her away, causing her physical pain. As the soldiers prepare to leave with her, Adrian lunges at Lawrence in a desperate attempt to rescue his sister. The other soldiers quickly restrain Adrian, pinning him down. Lawrence gets back up and fires his weapon, shooting Adrian and killing him instantly. Joanna screams and tries to run toward her brother's body, but Lawrence shoots her as well, causing her to fall to the ground. Louise and Fergal witness the entire event from a distance. Fergal holds Louise back, telling her not to make a sound so they are not discovered. Lawrence then turns his attention toward Leonard to finish him off, but a soldier named Comfort intervenes. Comfort hits Leonard with his gun but intentionally allows him the opportunity to escape from the farm. Leonard flees into the woods as the soldiers remain at the property. Later, Roush summons Lawrence to account for his actions. Lawrence claims that killing the girl was not his intention. He further explains that the boy's death happened during a struggle and that he had no other choice. Roush becomes furious with his son's lack of discipline and brutality. He informs Lawrence that once this specific mission is completed, he will be relieved of his service because he has taken the lives of innocent people. After escaping his farm, Leonard runs directly to the village church to alert the community about the German soldiers and the deaths of his children. Around the same time, Louise's father, Harold, arrives at the scene. He is visibly angry and demands to know where his daughter is, but he leaves to search for her before Leonard can give him an answer. Back at the farm, Louise emerges from her hiding spot once she realizes it is safe. She finds Adrian's body and breaks down in tears over his death. Fergal tries his best to console her, but both are left in a state of deep shock by the violence they witnessed. Meanwhile, Harold continues his journey toward Leonard's farm to find Louise. Along the way, he is stopped by German soldiers who question where he is coming from. He informs them that he has come from the nearby village. Roush notices that the village consists only of civilians, so he decides that the soldiers will use Harold's car to return to the village with him. During this time, Louise and Fergal make a discovery and realize that Joanna is actually still alive. They quickly pick her up and begin the journey toward the village, hoping to find medical help to save her life. As news of the killings at the farm spreads, the village falls into a state of panic, and people begin running for their lives. The priest meets with Leonard and hands him a key to the safe room beneath the church. Despite the need to lead, Leonard is still consumed by anger and grief over the loss of his two children. One of the villagers suggests that they should stay and defend their homes, even if it results in their deaths. Leonard agrees with this sentiment and declares that they will fight back to protect their land. Leonard leads the group of villagers to the safe room to hide before he begins preparing for the arrival of the German troops. The priest insists on staying above ground to act as a distraction and buy the villagers more time if necessary. As Louise continues her own journey back to find Leonard, she trips and finds her father's glasses on the ground. She picks them up and realizes that Harold has already passed through this area. The German soldiers eventually reach the village in Harold's car but find the streets completely empty. Lawrence quickly understands that the residents have been warned of their arrival. He orders the senior sergeant to lead the men in a thorough search of every corner of the village. Roush asks Harold where they can find more fuel for the vehicle. Harold leads the soldiers to his own house to get the fuel, unaware of the danger he is bringing home. Before they reach the house, Lawrence hears the faint sound of a baby crying from a hidden area. However, Roush interrupts him and tells him to follow Harold to secure the fuel first. Inside the house, Harold's wife, Bridget, sees the soldiers approaching and grabs a gun to defend her home. She manages to shoot the senior sergeant, but Lawrence immediately shoots her down before she can fire again. Lawrence then turns to Harold and demands to know the identity of the village leader. Just as Lawrence is about to execute Harold, the priest arrives and calls Lawrence by his name. The priest tries to reason with him, explaining that this is just a simple village and no one is hunting the soldiers. For a moment, the priest's words seem to affect Lawrence, but he quickly raises his gun and shoots the priest. He then returns his focus to Harold and demands answers again. Fearing for his life, Harold reveals that the leader is Leonard Lambert. Once he has the information he wanted, Lawrence shoots and kills Harold as well. After obtaining Leonard's name, Lawrence orders his men to find the farmer and bring him back, declaring that they will kill as many people as necessary to achieve this. His father, Rausch, stands by silently and does not interfere as his son gives these orders. On the other side of the village, Leonard has gathered a small group of men. He opens the weapons vault provided by the priest and distributes guns to the villagers. Leonard's strategy is to keep the German soldiers occupied until nightfall. He and his men head into the city, spreading out in different directions to initiate their counterattack. Soon, the sounds of intense gunfire fill the air as Lawrence's soldiers clash with the armed farmer. During the heat of the battle, Leonard maneuvers into a room that gives him a clear view of Lawrence and Rausch from a distance. Inside a nearby building, the German commander and his son are arguing. Rausch is concerned about the rising number of casualties among his soldiers and suggests a retreat, but Lawrence flatly refuses. Their argument escalates until Lawrence raises his gun and aims it directly at his father. Seeing his opportunity from his hiding spot, Leonard fires his weapon at the pair. However, a sudden vision of his late wife distracts him, causing his shot to miss the target. One of Leonard's men attempts to provide cover fire but is quickly shot down by the Germans. Amidst the chaos, Leonard spots Fergal nearby with Joanna. He runs toward their location and meets with Louise as well. After a brief exchange, Leonard tells them that the situation is too dangerous and they must leave the village immediately. They gather the remaining villagers to explain the plan to flee toward France. While many agree, some of the villagers refuse to go, stating that the land belongs to them and they will not abandon their homes. Shortly after Leonard and his group depart, Lawrence and his men storm the room where the remaining villagers are hiding. Lawrence demands to know which way the farmer went. Initially, the villagers remain silent, but eventually, a woman speaks out of fear and reveals Leonard's location. Despite getting the information he requested, Lawrence ignores any mercy and wipes out the remaining villagers. Later, Lawrence meets with Rausch and informs him of the direction Leonard is traveling. Rausch agrees that they will pursue them together. Leonard and his small group continue their journey on foot until they reach an abandoned house. That night, Leonard senses someone approaching their position. He quickly knocks the stranger down and demands that he identify himself. The stranger is a young man named Thomas, who reveals that his parents were also killed by the German soldier. Louise notices that the gun Thomas is carrying actually belonged to Adrian. Thomas explains that he didn't kill Adrian, but rather stole the weapon back from the Germans. Seeing the exhaustion of his group, Leonard decides they need to move faster. He informs the men that they must return to a nearby area to secure a horse and a cart to assist with their escape. Later that night, Louise sits by the fire and weeps for Adrian. Leonard approaches her to offer some comfort. Louise tells Leonard that she loved his son very deeply. She expresses regret for following him into this danger, but Leonard reminds her that she is a brave woman. It is then that Louise reveals a major secret. She is pregnant with Adrian's child. She tells Leonard she wants to name the baby after Adrian's mother if it is a girl, or name it Adrian if it is a boy. Overwhelmed by the news and the weight of his loss, Leonard finds a quiet place and breaks down in tears. The next morning, Leonard and his group begin their journey toward the location where they hope to find the German soldier. Meanwhile, Lawrence and his men are already engaged in a separate battle with a different squad of soldiers. Rausch is seen walking through the aftermath of the battlefield, appearing terrified as he observes the casualties. The German unit eventually wins the battle, but Rausch notices Leonard and his group attempting to escape in the distance using a horse and a cart. Rausch fires his weapon at Leonard but misses the shot. Leonard immediately fires back, hitting Rausch and killing him. Lawrence hears the gunshots and runs toward his father's position, but Rausch is already dead by the time he arrives. Leonard hurries back to his family and informs them that they must leave the area immediately because Lawrence will now be seeking revenge for his father's death. Back at the battlefield, Lawrence is filled with rage. After burying their fallen soldiers, he gathers his remaining men and begins a relentless pursuit of Leonard's group. As they travel, Leonard and his companions become cautious when they sense danger ahead on the path. Leonard decides to split the group for safety, instructing the men to stay behind to defend their position while Louise and the injured Joanna continue forward with the cart. When Leonard notices Lawrence and the German soldiers closing in, he stops the cart and unloads fuel to set a trap. Leonard uses himself as bait by lighting a stick and raising it to lure the enemies toward him. While he draws their attention, the other men hide behind trees, prepared to fire back. When Lawrence gets close enough, Leonard throws the flaming stick into the fuel, setting the entire area ablaze. The fire spreads rapidly, creating a wall of flames that cuts through the path and pushes the soldiers back. In the middle of the fire and thick smoke, Fergal and the other villagers open fire on the Germans. One soldier is even killed with a dagger during the close-quarter struggle. During the exchange of gunfire, a man named Henry is shot. The air becomes so thick with smoke that it is nearly impossible for anyone to see clearly. Gunfire continues to echo from all directions as Leonard and Lawrence eventually come face to face in the woods. The two men engage in a fierce physical struggle. After a desperate fight, Leonard manages to overpower Lawrence and strangles him to death, finally ending the threat. By the following morning, Louise and the rest of the survivors are waiting anxiously, worried about the men who stayed behind. Suddenly, Thomas comes running toward them to deliver news. He informs the group that they are okay, although Henry has been wounded by a gunshot. They rush into the woods and reunite with Leonard and the others, discovering that Henry is still alive. Leonard has successfully led his family and the remaining villagers to safety.